it's not easy. It's not easy to to talk after a defeat in a final in the FA Cup. There is a great disappointment for sure for me, for my players. Don't forget that we started the season with a lot of problems. We won the league with 30 wins, and I have to tell thanks my players because they performed 120% every single player in this season.
Yeah, Antonio Conte there, and we'll get Ray Wilkins on in just a second to talk about Chelsea's contribution to the FA Cup final, or lack of it, in just a second. That reminds me, of course, we're mentioning every sport here. One thing I need to tell people about is that yesterday, Coach Conte is Italian, the Giro d'Italia ended, the cycling race, the 3-week cycling race. After 2,500 miles, 5 people could have won the last day. In the end, it went to the Dutchman Tom Dumoulin, the first Dutchman ever to win the Giro. And I have to say, the last week has been the most dramatic sports event I've ever seen. I mean, literally, everything that could possibly happen, happened. And Dumoulin himself is a beast and a monster. And
you were just telling me, weren't you? How many people was in a frame?
Five people, yes, they could have won after it was a time trial through the streets in Milan for the last stage. But in the mountains over the last week, they have been really murdering each other. And it was absolutely amazing. And Dumoulin is now, of course, a superstar in Holland, and we'll see whether he recovers in time to go in the Tour de France. Meanwhile, as I say, we heard there from the voice of the Chelsea coach Antonio Conte, backing his players 100% after the FA Cup final. Let's find out what Chelsea's former coach and, of course, a legendary player over there at the Bridge, Ray Wilkins, a legend here at TalkSport as well, made of the game. Hello, Ray.
Morning, Ray.
Danny, Ray, how you doing? Danny, you must be absolutely choked, and Ray, you must be very, very comfortable.
No, see, I get some kind of bonus out of this, Ray, because everybody I know and love supports Arsenal, so that I get some kind of knock-on happiness from my family, and indeed Mrs. K, who is a season ticket holder at the Emirates.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah, I know. We're a mixed marriage, Ray. It's one of those things.
Very nice, too. It's nice that you can survive, Danny.
Oh, yeah. I remember in the run-up to the last of the North London derby, she said to me, we'll still be friends no matter what happens. Me, long pause. I go, well, let's see what happens first. Yeah, because you never know. Ray, we just had 25 minutes of Adrian Clark and Ray Parlour salivating over Arsenal. I think it's fair to say that from a Chelsea point of view, after a brilliant season, that was probably their most lacklustre performance.
I couldn't agree more, and I would go along with Ray and his fellow Arsenal colleagues in that I thought Arsenal were absolutely magnificent. We were very poor. We never came out the blocks. Struggled massively with the pace and the power of Arsenal, and just couldn't get to grips with them. It was a very comfortable win for the Arsenal. And Arsenal dropped back, and I thought Mertesacker, Ray, was absolutely unbelievable.
He was, yeah.
It was fantastic. And that just goes to show you can't beat a good Oldham, can you? And he was in there. He was directing everybody. I thought it was wonderful, his performance. But Fabregas is the one person that can, with that pass, Ray, open people up. And I agree with you. I would have gone with Cesc. You know, if you look at Arsenal, they went with Xhaka, who I thought for the last couple of months, Ray, I think he's settling into the Arsenal now and settling into the Premier League. He looks half a decent player. He stuck him in there with Ramsey, and Ramsey can't defend. Stick Cesc in there with either Conte or with Matic, and we've got the same scenario. But Cesc can open up a defence.
Absolutely right. A couple of controversial decisions, not controversial, a couple of decisions that need to be talked about during the game. Ray, I thought the first goal for Arsenal could have been disallowed on 2 grounds. Chelsea had a bit of bad luck there that the referee didn't see or didn't give the handball and then decided to interpret the offside law the way he did.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, Danny. I thought it was handball. I thought also that Ramsey made a movement towards the ball.
Which affects Courtois, doesn't it? Yeah.
Which comes into play, so he's offside. I'm not too concerned about that, mate. You've still got 90 minutes to play. I know that was in the 4th minute, but you still have 90 minutes on the way games go now. You've got 95 minutes, so it's not 90, it's 95. So you've still got 90 minutes in which to turn that round. So there might have been a mistake as far as that's concerned, but I'm not too worried about that, mate. See, that's just one of those things. But they should have been able to react to that. They didn't react to that at all, Chelsea. and Arsenal took it on from there as well. Should have scored 6 or 7, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, absolutely, Ray. Just looking at this summer, obviously Man City are trying to do a bit of business already, Ray. I'm sure, United are being in the market, Liverpool, Arsenal need to buy players as well.
Yeah,
where did Chelsea need to buy? Look, a lot's going to come down to Diego Costa, whether he's going to stay or go. But where else do they need strengthening?
Well, I think everybody needs to bring in a couple of new faces. Ray, as you know yourself, you just need that new face to walk through the door, and you get that little bit of inspiration as a player. But I would love to see Chelsea, if they can keep what they've got together, then they've got half a chance of doing really well. But Ray, in my humble opinion, they've got to utilise these young men a lot more. The likes of Loftus-Cheek, the Chalobahs, the Ackers. There's lots of those young men playing at Chelsea which need to be used a lot more. Now, even if he brings them and uses them in the FA Cup, it won't weaken the side. These guys are very, very good footballers, but given a chance, they'll become very good footballers. You know what I mean? They just have to keep using these guys. Otherwise, let them go. Let them go and play football.
Let me ask you, Ray, about Victor Moses. Do you think it's just part of the modern game, or do you think you let the side down by throwing himself to the ground?
What do you think, Danny?
I think
he let the side down.
I think it's a disgrace and let his teammates down. Yeah.
Well, I love this regulation that's coming in next year. We'll sit down. We'll see who dives around. I thought Anthony Taylor got that spot on, and he needed to be sent off. I think initially, anyway, that's a red card. That's not a yellow card. If you're trying to con the referee, in my humble opinion, that's a red card. Get him off the pitch because he's cheating.
Yeah.
But the main thing that throws it back, Danny, is when it comes down to kids playing on a Sunday and a Saturday.
Sure.
We don't want to see kids diving. We want to see, and they will emulate what these guys do. There's no two ways about it. I see young men walk on the pitch now. They've got their 2 fingers in the air and all that caper. What is all that about? Just get down and have a game of football.
I couldn't agree more. Listen, Ray, thank you very much. Commiserations from the Chelsea point of it.
Cheers, Ray.
But thank you very much indeed. And Antonio Conte, of course, I didn't want to extend Ray's agony about that dive, has blamed tiredness for Victor Moses' ridiculous actions during the game against Arsenal.
Tired? In an FA Cup final?
But is the Chelsea boss right to defend his player? We put that question to you on Twitter as part of today's poll, and 84% of you are currently saying that the Italian should make an example of him. And you can take part in that poll by going to @SportsBreakfast. That's @SportsBreakfast on Twitter. I'll tweet out on my timeline as well at Danny Kelly Words. If you want to go to mine, at Danny Kelly Words. And he's at The Real Romford Pele, if you don't mind, on Twitter as well. Ray, let me just ask you about that. The game has become, there is far more simulation than there's ever been in the game, it seems to me. But there was plenty of it, no doubt, when you were playing as well.
We go back to the famous one, Pires against Portsmouth.
Yep.
He went down. And
started the unbeaten run. Which, of course, is stopped by another dive at Old Trafford by Wayne Rooney.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, we don't want to sit in the game. Exactly right. And there needs to be more punishment.
But talk to me about the Chelsea players at Wembley. When Victor does what he does and goes down and gets himself sent off, I'm sure if he'd got a penalty, there might have been a deal of sympathy for him. But I'm sure there can't be any sympathy from afterwards from the other Chelsea players.
Look, he was expecting a challenge, which never come from Oxlade-Chamberlain. So he just felt he was waiting for it to happen. And was trying to trick the referee, and he went down. So it was embarrassing. I mean, this day and age, you can look at replays and how many times you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And it was quite embarrassing for Victor Moses. And he'd be distraught after the game. Look, he's had a great season at Chelsea. He's let his teammates down, as Ray says there, because they were still well in the game. Suddenly, you're really up against it with 10 men on a hot day.
Yep.
All you got to do then is your Arsenal players is keep moving. I know they got the equaliser with 10 men, and and then obviously Giroud set up Sir Ramsey for the winning goal. But he'd be absolutely distraught in that dressing room because it's it's what's worldwide, Danny.
Yeah,
this
that's
game.
my point.
FA Cup final is such a big game around the world that. Everybody would have seen Victor Moses suddenly go down like that and let his teammates down.
Yeah, and
you would have had a word with him after the game saying, what are you thinking of there?
I hope
Victor?
so. I hope so. And I say Anthony Taylor got rightly, I think, criticised for the first goal. He deserves a lot of credit.
He was in a great position to see it.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you very much indeed, Ray Parlour, Ray Wilkins as well. Next up here, Formula One. And we'll talk to Rachel Brooks, the host of the Grand Prix show on Talksport.
It's not easy. It's not easy.